Welcome to another edition of Beyond Game Day. I've got this big smile on my face because ESA Sports Editor Vata Ngobeni. I'm just going through, and again, we appreciate our viewers coming through and engaging with us. This is why we do this. It's sharing content, sharing information with them, and of course, their feedback is most welcome. But our feedback for last weekend's show, Vata, it seemed to have hit a nerve, and I say hit a nerve because as I'm looking at some of the comments,
don't.
I'm not going to read.
No. Thabiso, no.
I'm not reading any of them on air.
I stayed away because of those comments.
But it speaks to exactly where we are as a country, in particular with sports, and I think the topics are pretty relevant.
It's an emotional thing, Thabiso.
Sport is very emotional in South Africa.
Very emotional. Then you drop just a drop of race. You can see.
And all of this.
We speak about Boki Viek. They all come crawling out of under the rock.
Yeah. I mean, all this
and
stems
from... They're getting very touched.
Look, all of this stems from, obviously, when we spoke about Craven Week and...
No, the schoolboy fight.
Yes, Craven Week, schoolboy rugby, schoolboy sports in general. And then I asked a question about a Boki Viek, whether it was sanctioned or not.
Yeah.
And all hell broke loose on the socials.
Also,
yeah. So but anyway, we appreciate your reactions. We appreciate your input because we learn a lot from what you would like to see and what you'd like to hear. And obviously, we need to have a thicker skin.
I appreciate feedback.
Yes.
When we spoke about the swimmers, we saw the parents of those swimmers saying it's not swimming South Africa.
It's the coaches.
It is the coaches and the parents
themselves.
You know, they are pouring all the time and the money into these swimmers. And I take it.
Yeah.
Right? However, I think there are certain people who are just overzealous and they get touched in the studios and they don't listen to understand. They listen to respond.
Yeah.
And I think some of the response are just below the belt, man. Well, yeah. And we won't stoop that low.
Yeah.
We won't stoop that low.
Tell them that this Muntu won't stoop that low.
Which Muntu? You?
The one that was written here. This. Anyway, it began last Friday. The greatest rivalry is finally in South Africa.
Yeah.
The All Blacks, I think they learned from the opening match against Province, the Stormers as it were. Province no longer exists. They came out swinging against the Sharks. The Sharks exist, but the logo is different.
They were swimming there in Durban.
Yeah, I don't know. But look, what a great spectacle of rugby it's been. I mean, we did predict
not the one in
it.
Durban.
Look, all through, because it shows the class. Look, you could say not the one. Yes, my team.
Your team failed to arrive.
Yes, they got pummeled.
They drowned.
Agreed. They got pummeled.
They drowned in the King's Park rain.
But overall, it speaks about what we've been discussing, what you can expect from this tour. The All Blacks, they're looking to get sharper and sharper ahead of that Ellis Park.
With the Thabiso, I think they showed class against the Sharks. And they were pushed by the Stormers, make no mistake, they were really pushed by the Stormers.
No, cobwebs, I would say.
Yeah, but take note, Thabiso, our franchises are in preseason. You know, some of the players that to be called, and at this time of preseason, they shouldn't be playing with the ball. It's about conditioning, getting the conditioning, good and proper. For them to even get involved in a match of any kind, let alone against the All Blacks.
Yeah.
And for the Stormers to put up the fight that they did, kudos to John Dobson and Rowan Nell's team and what they just did. And Brannas just showed that, is just pure class, man.
Yeah.
Dion Fourie is just class. And no one they got called up to.
I was just about to say, I mean, he's being called up.
39 years old, Bafo. 39 years old, and if he does play, he's going to become the oldest Springbok.
Yeah. In fact, when you think of his journey to the Springbok fold, his debut at age 35, if I'm not wrong.
36, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah. Matala Proma.
Speaking about, he was on a train. He wasn't. He didn't
even believe when he got the call.
Yeah. So, I mean, it speaks of the depth, I think, we've always mentioned as far as the Springboks concerned. But on top of that, him being called in speaks to what you did see. Yes, Russ is saying that injury to Siya was not that bad. But
There's concern. Hamstring.
There must be a concern in the Springbok camp
even
now.
a 20-year-old one, once they get a hamstring, it's a big concern. Thabiso. But before we touch on that, the Durban match. Yes, the Sharks were blown out the water. For me, it is what happened before kickoff.
I want you to dissect it properly. Let's wrap the Stormers game, because that part for me, the Durban match, it's historic. It's emotion. It speaks a lot about the game and why we're having this greatest rivalry. Yes, we caught hands, nil, as a Sharks team. You see what happens when you lose the logo. Even the player leaves it. But I want us to wrap the Stormers game.
So I think Thabiso, Rassie is concerned. You'll be concerned. Siya is a very important cog within the Springbok setup. You only have to listen to the players themselves and how they speak about him. They speak very highly of Siya and the impact and the influence he's got on the team itself. And we heard Rassie about 2 weeks ago, prior to them leaving for Argentina, when he said that he's not worried about the likes of Siya and Eben, and he went even further, especially about Siya, that the last 2 World Cups, Siya has had to face injury fears, of not even making the World Cup, and they took him because just Siya there's something about Siya that, he's so headstrong.
Yeah, that inspirational.
And his body just finds a way of mending itself at a critical time when the Boks really need him, and prior to every World Cup. And Siya always pitches up.
Yeah, it's a change room leadership more than anything on the field.
Yeah, so I think, as much as Rassie is hoping that Siya will be fit, caught in some cover, and not better player than Branas.
Yeah, no.
Especially after the game that he had.
Yeah. No,
and I mean, he has been sitting. I mean, the last time Branas played for the Boks was in the World Cup final.
World Cup final. We walked
and he actually captained them at the end of the game. He was captain. So, I think if Branas is to come back and play another test match and become the oldest Springbok, I think against the All Blacks would be a wonderful one, and he can bow out after that and say, I've done my bit.
Look, and it gives Rassie some cover. I mean, I hate using the word utility player, because either you are or you're not. Either you are forward or you...
Or hybrid now.
Yeah, hybrid, yeah.
But listen, Branas is a player. He gives you cover at hooker. He gives you cover
at Lucy somewhere. In
the back row. So I think it's a double victory.
Yeah.
Man, and just there's just something. Branas' story is just
it's an inspirational one.
It is. It's a pure rugby story. It's one that I think not too many sporting codes can give to a people, and rugby yet again has given us another wonderful story that we're going to be talking about for years to come.
Yeah, in fact, that is that story that I wanted us to get into after just dissecting the Stormers game.
The Sharks game.
The Sharks, the Stormers game, they would now.
The storm that happened to the Sharks.
Yeah. Then out in Durban, you had, I think, the All Blacks learned from the Stormers match. They pulled finger. We saw them come out firing. A young team, yes, but it's a team that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, Nations Championship as well, that they're building up to something. And they came to bear their teeth against the Sharks. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was, as usual, the Haka, but it was that solo Haka. You speak about only a story told by rugby. Ma'anonu coming into the Shark setup as an assistant or whatever you want to call it, ending up on the bench, ends up running on during that match. But those scenes of him doing a solo kapo pongo against his very teamless, almost handing over the baton from, the old geezer, as it were, to the new breed of the All Blacks. What an emotion that was.
A big emotion. I think Luke Jacobson, captain the All Blacks for the first time, to see Ruben Love leading the Haka.
Young kid.
And the passion that he had. The likes of Hatton, captain the Sharks, the likes of Vusumoyo, Siya, all those kids, Khelemi, they will learn something. You know, they will learn a lot from having played the All Blacks. But I think for me, Thabiso, the biggest takeout was seeing a 43-year Ma'anono standing there solo and doing the kapopang. And how the All Blacks also stood and embraced the challenge that was being laid down by a legend, not of just New Zealand All Black rugby, a legend of the game itself. 103 caps, won 2 World Cups. The guy has done it all, man. Continued playing in France, played for Toulon, and now he pops up in Durban as a mentor to the youngsters, but he'll play.
And I heard him say, you mentioned it.
And he ran at Ruben Love.
Yeah. And
his first touch of the ball, he ran straight at Ruben and ran over him.
You mentioned something just now as well with it's preseason for most of our teams.
Yeah.
And Ma'a actually says, I ended up on the starting, lineup because the Sharks actually needed the players. There's not enough players in camp anyway.
But what a story.
Yeah.
What a story, Job. We know now he's at the 12th of his career. His career is done. This will be it for him.
He's here on holiday. Actually.
He's going to say, what better way to hang up my boots than a match against my country?
Yeah, his own country, yeah.
And Thabiso, again, it speaks about the deep heritage and this rivalry we speak about between the All Blacks and the Springboks. It's alive. It captivates not just the mind but the soul as well. And it was just wonderful. It was a poignant moment. And to me, it was probably the one moment that really would have sparked this tour off to people who are not rugby mad, centric like us, would have said, wow.
Yeah.
What is this? And I think now the eyes of the rest of South Africa who are like, who watch the Springbok matches are like,
Excellent.
I'm watching the Bulls game.
Excellent.
I'm going to watch even the Lions game after the first test, and I'm watching the other 2 test matches. That's it, I'm done.
I was thinking that Haka from Ma'anono, the Durban crowd, the Sharks crowd, you could hear them behind.
Yeah. They were cheering Ma'an, yeah.
And the respect that, of course, South Africa always has a respect for the Haka in general. So we don't, whistle. We don't really, when New Zealanders have it. But for every part of the Kapa Oponga that Ma'a did, South Africans knew when to cheer him on and when to egg him on. It speaks about that history and what we love about, South Africa and New Zealand rivalry. It moves over to this weekend, to the Bulls. It's going to be a tough one. The Bulls, I'm sure, have thought to themselves, these guys are here they're not here to play, they're here to do business.
Yeah.
I don't want to preview too much that match because we're not quite sure what the Bulls squad will be. I know
the team's out. The team is out by 4.
Okay, so
Kevin Bosch starting at 10 by Forza.
Okay.
Yeah. Ambrose Papier is there. Villeroux at fullback. Hero Foster at 12. Stedman Gans at 13. It's a strong backline.
I was going to say, they realize that maybe they shouldn't be playing around.
No, again, not too many of these players at franchise level will ever get an opportunity to play
to sing the national anthem.
Exactly.
And to play against All Blacks.
It's a massive opportunity for them. So I think as much as it's early in their preseason, the likes of Abo JP Peterson, Dobo, Johan Ackerman, Cash, Van Rooyen are going to use this.
And Ackerman understands, and the players you just mentioned, I'll say players, the coaches, but those are players that understand what it meant to face a Haka.
Yeah. So a guy like JP fully appreciates that. A guy like Johan Ackerman fully appreciates it as well. As a player, and now they want to do it as coaches as well. They want to test their own acumen against a Dave Rennie.
Yeah.
Some of the best you've seen in World Rugby. I hope the Bulls really push them.
Look, I mean, the
I
All
hope
Blacks,
the Bulls really push them.
so far the All Blacks are copying a bit of an injury list more than the score line.
And Richie Mwanga is now coming in. There's a lot of talk, obviously, with Richie going back to New Zealand, and the fact that he will not be going on tour because you've got to play NPC game.
Yeah.
He's still contracted with the Japanese team at the moment. So he's got to first play in New Zealand and then be eligible for All Black selection. I think they've bent the rules because they realize, on top of the injuries, you cannot leave out a guy like Richie Mwanga. You just cannot. You cannot.
In fact, we were all surprised when it wasn't. They were like, hey, Bahlanya.
Yeah, one. You bend the rules. Now you want to bend them now before it's too late, So, but good on them. Good on them. Talking about rivalries, sorry, Thabiso, I just have to little thing to do here. There's a nice rivalry happening in the Eastern Cape in the border region between my school, Queen's College.
I thought you had this conversation last week.
And Dale College. No, they're playing Dale this weekend.
No, I thought you had this conversation.
And Dale beat us in Queenstown, in Komane, earlier this year at Reunion. And it was heartbreaking because they had not done so in a number of seasons.
I thought you had this conversation that we only talk about national teams.
And then Sabon College came and did the same thing. Well, not didn't come to Komane, but in East London. And then they just copped 55-15 against us just 2 weeks ago in Komane. Now we go down to the graveyard at Dale College. Because Dale have also produced an All Black, in Craig Somerville. And they've got a Pele Fassi there.
Nice pivot.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
Nice pivot to bring it back
Don't worry, Chief. Just reminding the Dalians, Yeah, we've got a score to settle there at the graveyard. So just talking about rivalries.
Yeah, let's wrap the rugby segment of it because we still have to speak WAFCON and a bit of Battery Premiership started.
SAFA.
No SAFA. I'm not talking SAFA.
We have to talk SAFA.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Our viewers are ish full of SAFA
and
nonsensicals. Are we now? And I'm thinking ahead of the Springbok race with the All Blacks' first test out in the championship greatest rivalry. Do you think the Springboks will go into this series undercooked? And I say that New Zealand, the past 2-3 weeks, they'll go into that match having crossed their T's and literally dotted their I's, and they'll have some mileage in their legs. My fear is that the Springboks might go into this a bit undercooked, and as I've been saying, I think we'll cop a hiding in at least one of these matches against the All Blacks.
I don't think so, Thabiso. Battle-hardened All Blacks, for sure. They would have played Stormers, Sharks, Bulls. Battle-hardened, for sure. The Springboks, Chief, we've been saying this, are on top of world rugby. And there's a big gap between them and the rest. The rest are living in the Springboks planet. Right? They got enough out of the game against Argentina. People look at the scoreline, whatever, man. No, Argentina not a...
But the team that went to Argentina is not the team that was rested at home looking ahead of the rivalry.
No, but you see, you got Lordbeck, Eben playing, Siya. So, please, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Springboks is the Springboks buff. The Springboks...
Dito, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Thabiso. All you've got to do is put a black jersey in front of them and a Haka. It's enough. And the All Blacks know all about that.
Fair enough.
I don't think the All Blacks will be fooled by the fact that they've played matches and they are there. There's something that happens when the Springboks come against the All Blacks that gets both teams, it takes the best out of, they just deliver the rugby that must be delivered. The Springboks will go into the first test as favourites without a shadow of a doubt. Right? Considering their last outing in Wellington and the score. However, Thabiso, I do not think there is much that separates these two teams. And, it's gonna be all in upstairs here and who wants it the most. Because I think even the plans that both coaches have, once that whistle goes, those players go ham and tongues at each other. And I think, Thabiso, we're just going to be in for one hell of a series.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we can all agree on is that if you
There's no one who's gonna catch
if you're
hands here.
sporty once the whistle goes,
It's war, Thabiso.
it's no longer about the history, it's no longer a result, it's playing the game in front of you. So I think it's going to come full circle. Maybe it's just my nerves actually working at me because
so Tuka Songa,
you cannot not be nervous.
everyone.
Yeah.
No one can be arrogant.
The arrogance came through.
Apparently. Allegedly.
Out in Safa House, in Nasrec, Safa House.
Your friends.
Yes, but this time I want to stay out of the boardroom. We know the shenanigans still happening there. We're going to wait until 12th September. There was no response from what we put out on the show last week regarding the comments made by the Safa president. How have you got the list of who nominated who? So we'll leave it at that.
They won't answer that one.
They will not answer because, like we said, when we come here and give you this
They're
information,
not answerable to any board.
and that's the biggest fear. So hence the calls for change are growing. That some of that arrogance, one could say, was fairly evident going into how our women's team, and I say our women's team, WEFCON, the results came about.
Okay.
And I say that.
I will live in Pitso for.
Yes, we're going to get there.
Okay.
Our women's team came out at WEFCON. Quickly, they are playing a fifth and sixth place playoff.
It doesn't matter.
They still got a chance to win the World Cup Intercontinental
Doesn't matter, Thabiso. Thabiso, it doesn't matter.
You don't really care about that.
Doesn't matter.
They should have qualified outright straight.
I think they should have qualified, yes. But also, I think it's time now we sit down and have the conversation that I think a lot of people are running away from. Is there a need for a new voice in the change room of Banyana Banyana?
Which is what Bafana have done, haven't they? They've announced Pitso Mosimane.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and I'm not saying this because I'm saying Desiree must go, Ellis.
She served
I'm not saying,
Banyana
I'm
Banyana
not saying that it's time for. I'm just saying the question though should now be asked: are there players not tired of hearing her voice? Are they not in need of a new voice?
Hence, I bring up then.
Yes. So I think it's one of the questions that needs to be asked, all right? In light of what happened at WAFCON.
Because Desiree Ellis is the longest serving senior national team coach, period, both men and women.
Yes. But also, the other question that needs to be asked of the mother body. We keep on talking about the professionalization of women's football.
Women's sports, I think, generally.
I want to get that one, Thabiso. We can spend a whole hour. Let's just stick to football on. What we saw of WAFCON, is that not a consequence of kicking the can down the road? Of not professionalizing women's football in this country? Because once you do that, Thabiso, we will go into WAFCON knowing that semi-final guaranteed. Because
which is what we've gone into
players
every
are just
thinking
above the rest. Because they don't have to worry. Those who are not playing abroad and are playing at home don't have to worry about going to work, about being in the Navy, Thabiso.
Indeed.
Right? You know that you can earn a living, and a good living at that. Right? Playing professional football in the country. And you know, once you do that and your focus is just on on playing football, your level of what you deliver on the field will be far superior than most countries are going to be delivering.
Yeah. And
so there are two issues at hand that I think need to be addressed. Is the professionalization of women's football, but maybe now the time might be the time to say thank you,
coach.
Thank you, coach. You know, we need someone who's going to take the team to the next level.
And to be fair, knowing Des, and apologies for calling her first name. I mean, we know her for so long. But knowing Coach Ellis, I think deep down, she might also have that in the back of her head. Mine would be, but maybe let's not lose her from the, No, you can't lose her from the equation. Let's not lose her just for the sake of saying maybe new blood. She still has so much a role to play within women's football. The same, the likes of friend Hilton Smith.
Yeah.
They charted the way, the history that they have created in women's football if you think back to the late 90s, from Foslo Stadium, Banyana Banyana, fill those stadiums.
Caledonian.
And those are the teams those are the players who are now coaching used to play. Speaking of coaching, we got an announcement last Saturday, emergency meeting coming up at Safa House. I ran there after a morning shift. Got there, I was told, no, actually the coach is not here.
No, the reason why they didn't make that, because they saw you. as soon as then you're done, so here's the man with the answers, Musi. He already knows.
I ran there and they said, no, actually, we're cancelling. There's no such thing as a presser. Then a couple of, 24, 48 hours later, the announcement is made. Pitso Mosimane as the coach, head coach of Bafana, taking over Coach Hugo Bruce, whose contract ended on the 31st. Fine, we get it. Nothing there. But there's still T's and C's, crossing dotted I's and crossing T's. That still needs to be done. How far are we with regards to that? Because I know there was an offer for salary and that's still a sticky point.
Rumors are they've offered Pitso 5 million a year. That's what the reports are saying. 5 million. Hugo Bruce was being paid 1.5 million. Or 1.4?
A match.
1.4
a month.
A month.
So why give Hugo that much?
I mean, the guy is, that's what, looking at in excess of 15 million. And this one, you say, you must remember that this one, when he left Sundowns years ago, he had just signed a new contract at 1.4 million, 1.3, 1.4 million per month.
Went over to Al Ahly.
Let's forget.
Killed it in Al Ahly, won everything there.
Yeah. And it wasn't crazy money there.
He's got 3 African continental championships.
Yeah.
He's got Super League.
Bronze at the FIFA Club World Cup. Young. So now you want to offer him 500,000 a month.
Would Pitso,
that's an insult, Thabiso.
Yeah, no, I get it. 100%.
And Thabiso, no, don't say you get it. You don't get it. It's an insult, and it's an insult coming from who? The people that have been saying to you must go.
I want to contextualize it. I want to get to that point. I know Pitso probably, let me not say Pitso doesn't care about the money. Pitso's got money.
Yeah.
So for him, it's not about the money. Is it an insult?
It is an insult.
Let me finish the question. Is the insult in saying we will give you less than who was here? Because I don't think Pitso actually cares about the 15 million. But I think, again,
I think it does, Thabiso.
But I think for me, it'd be a case of saying, okay, you respect me enough to, actually, I don't need it. I'm here because I want to do the job.
Thabiso, if he was so desperate to be Bafana coach, you would have taken whatever they give him.
But the point is that, that's an insult in itself.
However, what they offered him was them showing him the middle finger and saying, "This is what we think of you."
That's my point. So
he is right. He is right in digging his heels and saying, "Suka."
So my point is,
you think this is going to?
So my point is, the insult is actually not the money. The insult is actually offering him that.
Exactly, it's what they offered him. Yeah.
Instead of saying, knowing very well what Hugo Bruce was getting,
but also knowing very well what I'm worth.
What is worth? Yes.
What I'm worth. Forget what Hugo Bruce was earning. I left a South African club was paying me what Bruce was earning a month.
A club.
You as a federation, national federation.
Because I hear the argument saying Bruce was a former AFCON winner.
That's fine.
Which is okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. But here at home, in the 5 years.
There's a club here in this country that was paying Pitso the kind of money that Hugo Bruce was earning.
Meter and a half a month. Period. I guess those guys, I'm not going to call
that's his worth.
I'm not going to call those guys by name.
That's his currency.
But those guys...
that's his currency, Thabiso.
I think they've already split the FIFA money in their heads. The World Cup money. So
that's his currency, Thabiso. Pay him his currency. Pay him that's what he's worth. But decision, well done. Good decision. They should have just done this before the World Cup. Not announce the name, but they should have just said to Pitso, Pitso's job is just sign, finish. Really. So by the time that Pitso, the announcement is made at the end of the World Cup or end of South Africa's campaign at the World Cup, Pitso is already, I'm sure he's been doing his work. Pitso knowing Pitso.
He's already done his homework.
He's done his homework. He knows.
I kind of know, he probably knows
which team for the qualifiers.
For the first
for the qualifiers. Yeah. So yeah. But Thabiso, me, I give up. I've given up in your friends.
No, they're your friends.
Your friends.
No, they're your friends.
You went to see them on Sunday?
No.
Saturday?
Then they cancel the presser.
Yeah, because I saw you.
But they're your friends.
Because I can't talk to their friends.
But you're the boss. You said I must go there.
No. You are their friend.
Okay, let's quickly wrap it up. We ran out of time. SA Under-20s coming back during the week. Well done to them. Look, they did well. I don't want to go into the French to the federation. I'm done with that.
Thabiso, no.
Well done to our athletes Under-20s. The future looks good. And I want to wrap it up with the announcement of the South African Sports Awards nominees. No,
can I ask you a question?
If it's about Athletics South Africa,
but can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Imagine if there were no shenanigans at the offices of ASA.
I said, don't ask me.
Imagine, Thabiso, this team 10th in the world, 9 medals, Thabiso.
These kids, the future
They're
looks
doing
good.
the things. Our athletes are doing the things, Thabiso. Imagine if there was none of this maladministration and Chisanyama credit cards, Foshini, tops, what? Imagine, Thabiso. Imagine where we'd be. Imagine if the focus was solely on the athletes, on the coaches, and pouring more money into making sure we are producing more of these athletes. We could have come back with more medals, Thabiso.
You know, evident it is that the federations that are not administratively in the doldrums, it is evident in the nominees for the SA Sports Awards. Athletics South Africa, for all their success in 2025, when I say their success, the athletes' success,
Yes.
they are not nominated in the Federation of the Year category. Swimming South Africa, for all their success, in fact, the swimmers had, again, missing there. But the coaches, relevant coaches, are nominated in the coach of the year. Rocco Meiring, Matubedi, who is since an ASA coach who since left South Africa. In fact, he was coach of Bayanda Walaza. He's now started his job
Thabiso,
in Malaysia on the 1st, leaving South Africa.
Recognition for the people that are really doing the hard work. They are doing the work on the ground. It's the athletes, it's the coaches. And if there was an award for parents, I would definitely put an award there for parents at the SA Sports Awards.
Yeah.
But even those SA Sports Awards and the adjudication panels leave much to be desired. But maybe in this instance, let's say, job well done. Because the people that should be recognized are being recognized.
Maybe just for the sake of our viewers, if you haven't seen them, leading the top honors. The top honor would be Themba Bavuma, Stellar Year 2025, of course, leading the Proteas to that WTC Championship, the final against Australia. The injury to him, playing through all that pain, playing through all the hardships, being voted ESPN Crick Info's Captain of the Year. So happy with that nomination.
Isn't that a test match, Wafa?
Happy with that nomination?
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
The guy is a world champion and hasn't lost a test match.
Second nomination, Akani Simbine, 2025, again, stellar season for him, winning a handful of Diamond League events, whether it was Rabat or it was Young
World
Men,
Indoors.
World Indoors as well. But most importantly, over a decade of sub-10s in the 100 meters, the only athletes who have done that. And also, leading, of course, anchoring Team SA at the Guangzhou World Championships for gold in the 4x1. That nomination, happy with that?
100% happy. Kim Giorgio.
Yeah.
None.
The third SA Star of the Year would be Malcolm Marx, again, part of a stellar 2025 season. Rugby Player of the Year, the first forward.
Player of the Year.
Yeah, right. World Rugby Player of the Year, the first forward to do that, to win that award, I think, since early 2000s, if not.
No. Front row.
Front row, apologies. Yeah, early 2000. Then 2001, there was the last time. Yeah, but early,
Some of them.
yeah.
Some of them.
Played about 70 minutes, average of 70 minutes.
He was immense.
That season.
He was immense.
2025.
He was immense.
Yeah. Happy with that one.
Happy with that one.
Yeah, okay. Now I think then that's how we're going to wrap
And
it
I'm
up.
loving this Rocco Meiring Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Look, Rocco probably deserves it. That's what I'm saying. He'll be there. Shukri Conrad is also there for Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Transform the Proteas.
That's what I'm saying. Machibedi is there. But as I said, he's since left South Africa. He's coach of Dambile, coach of Walaza, and he's left South Africa saying he's rather taken up a post in Malaysia to go coach there because there's no money letting South Africa because they're swiping where?
Chisanyama.
Koshini. Yeah.
Topsy tops.
Yeah. Also, plenty of nominations. We'll run through them. In fact, you can catch them in our bulletins here on ESCA. Lara Wolfhard in the running as well for SA Women's Sports Player of the Year. In fact, for the cricket. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to as far as that's concerned. Unfortunately, we have to call time on this edition of Beyond Game Day. Do catch us on Game Day on the weekend. Again, we look at what has been and what you should expect throughout. And, of course, the greatest rivalry continues next week. We'll be hopefully speaking Vata on how many scalps the Bulls took down in terms of the All Blacks. And unfortunately...
And how many scalps the Kudus will take at the graveyard. College!
Bye-bye. See you next weekend. Cheers.